All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are diving into a totally different way of thinking about health. The big idea here isn't about piling on more rules, but actually understanding the logic behind what makes us feel good. You know that feeling, right? You're just drowning in health advice. One day it's, eat this. The next day it's, never eat that. It is a jungle out there. But what if the answer isn't some new, complicated rule, but just a better way of thinking? And this quote, this is pretty much the key to everything we're talking about today. It's about making a shift, moving away from just blindly following what you're told, and instead really getting a grip on the basic principles of how your body actually works. It's about asking why and letting that logic be your guide. Okay, so where do we even start with this? Well, let's begin with our first big idea, something we all do every single day, eating and drinking. The logic here is actually super simple, but it's also incredibly profound. The source of what you put in your body has a huge, huge impact. Okay, so take milk, for example. This is a fascinating way to look at it. Think about the carton of milk you buy at the store. One bottle could have milk from thousands of different cows. The argument from our source is that this creates a kind of biological chaos. Your body is trying to process all these conflicting signals from tons of different DNAs, different hormonal profiles. It's a lot to handle. So what's the big deal? Well, the argument here is that your body is just confused. When it gets hit with so many mixed signals, it can lead to things like hormonal imbalances. The source basically makes the case that a lot of our modern health issues might just come from our bodies being completely bewildered by these super-processed, multi-source foods. And it's not just milk, right? The same logic applies here to something like a walnut. A whole walnut, still in its shell, is a complete package. It's exactly how nature made it. But when you buy just the broken pieces, you could be missing out on some of the good stuff that got lost or destroyed during all that processing. The principle is simple. Go for the whole thing whenever you can. Now let's talk about water, because this one might surprise you. A lot of us grab bottled water thinking it's the healthier, purer choice. But our source points out a potential issue. A lot of this water has a really low TDS, which stands for total dissolved solids. The logic is that this empty water then tries to balance itself out inside your body by pulling minerals from your bones. On the flip side, you have things like alkaline or boiled water, which the source calls live water, that your body can absorb much more easily. Okay, so we've talked about what goes into your body, but now let's switch gears and talk about when. This whole section is about a really simple idea: respecting your body's internal clock and its natural cycles. This right here could be a total game changer for how you think about eating. So every time you eat, your pancreas kicks into gear and produces insulin. But here's the logic. It needs a break. It needs about 4 hours to rest and recharge. If you're snacking all the time, you're essentially forcing that poor organ to work overtime without a break. And the argument is, you do that for years and years, and you're paving the way for serious problems like diabetes. Okay, next up, a question I'm sure you've asked yourself a million times. Do you drink a ton of water with your food? Do you avoid it completely? Well, according to our source, the logic is actually pretty simple, and it comes down to a really great analogy. I just love this way of thinking about it. Imagine you're using a blender, right? You don't just dump a gallon of water in there, it would be a soupy mess. You add just a little splash to help everything get moving and blend together. Well, your stomach is the same way. A little bit of water right in the middle of your meal helps with digestion, but too much, before or after, just dilutes everything. This really gets to the heart of why things like intermittent fasting might work. Your body is incredibly smart. So when you eat your first meal, your mind does this quick calculation and basically says, okay, I'm storing enough energy from this meal to power us through the whole day, because hey, it has no idea when the next meal is coming. So when we're constantly grazing, we're kind of messing with that brilliant built-in energy management system. All right, so we've hit on food and timing, but real health is about so much more than just that. Let's zoom out a bit and look at some other powerful factors from our lifestyle and our environment that we might be overlooking. Think about this. Your blood is basically the engine oil for your body. And just like your car, that oil needs to be changed once in a while. Our source completely reframes blood donation here. It's not just about helping other people, which is amazing, but it's also a fundamental act of self-care, a way to do crucial maintenance on your own system. And you might be wondering, how much are we talking about? Well, it's a surprisingly small amount, just 350 milliliters. That's about the size of a can of soda. According to the source, giving that amount is the signal that tells your body, okay, time to kickstart the system and make some fresh, new blood. And the benefits of this oil change, well, according to this logic, they're pretty significant. You're not just making new blood,
You're actually improving the quality and the density of your entire blood supply. The source suggests that thicker blood can lead to problems, and this process keeps it flowing smoothly. It's even called a powerful anti-aging practice.
Now this next one is a little unexpected. What if something we do every single day is working against us? The source makes a really interesting connection here, suggesting that spending all our time in air conditioning might actually be one of the things that contributes to that blood thickening we were just talking about. Just a fascinating thought about how our environment affects us.
So a lot of us have probably done a sun salutation in a yoga class, right? But are we missing the entire point? Our source asks us to dig a little deeper here. I mean, why is it called a sun salutation?
So here's the logic. It's not just about the poses, it's about the sun in sun salutation. The real magic, according to this idea, happens when you're outside in the morning and the sun's rays pass through moisture in the air, like dew or mist, and then hit your skin. That specific combination is what's supposed to give you this profound energetic benefit. So doing the poses in a studio, you're kind of missing the key ingredient.
Okay, let's start to pull all of these threads together. Because following logic isn't just about a few random choices. It's a whole new philosophy for health. It's about shifting from just chasing symptoms to actually getting to the root cause of the problem.
This analogy just cuts right through it all. It perfectly explains the two different approaches to health. So everyone agrees on the problem. If you have trash lying around, you're going to get flies. Now the argument is that modern medicine is fantastic at getting rid of the flies, the symptoms. But the flies just keep coming back. The logical, or Ayurvedic approach asks, hey, why are the flies here in the first place? And then focuses on removing the trash, the root cause.
So at the end of the day, what's the main takeaway here? It's not to just create a new checklist of things to do. The goal is to really internalize the logic, to understand the principles of purity and timing and getting to the root cause. That's where the real power is.
See, this whole approach is really about trusting your own body again. Instead of looking for all the answers in some external set of rules, you start to build this intuitive connection with your own system. Your body is giving you signals all the time. Understanding the logic just helps you finally start speaking its language.
So I'll leave you with this little challenge. Take a look at your own health habits. Is there one rule you've been following just because you were told to, without really knowing why? Think about it, and see if you can replace that strict rule with a more flexible, more logical approach. It's a really powerful way to think, and hopefully this gave you some new ideas to play with.